Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green. Before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out to the title sponsors of Caffeine and Green, which is Seven Seas Roasting Company and Thorn Street Brewery, coming straight out of San Diego. Now, what's great about having Seven Seas Roasting as the sponsor of the podcast is that they have offered me a great code for y'all to get 3 bags of coffee for $30, and that's a no-brainer because 2 bags of coffee is $32. So you're getting a bag of coffee for free with a discount. So it's a no-brainer. So when you go over to sevenseasroasting.com, you're gonna head over there, and when you're at the checkout, you're gonna input the promo code, and it's gonna be CANDG at checkout, and you're gonna get that deal. Again, that is Caffeine and Green. That's C and G at checkout. Now, you're going to be able to get everything but our charity roast, which is a Spikes blend, but you have the El Jaguar, you have the Non-Kali, you have our decaf, and the 5th Gear Espresso. Now, the El Jaguar is chocolate, nutty, a little bit of orange zest. The Non-Kali is a little bit of dried mango, butter cookie, and some almond flavor notes. So it's amazing, guys. So go ahead, head over to sevenseasroasting.com, put in my code, CANDG, at checkout, and get 3 bags of coffee for $30. My guest today is a Caffeine and Green alum. He's a returning guest. He's a homie. I see this dude every Friday. We have coffee together. We talk some shit and just enjoy each other's company. Of course, I'm talking about my man, Baiz, a.k.a. Sprometheus. That's right. That's how I said it, y'all. On the real, it's Sprometheus. But he's the homie. I really enjoyed having him on. It's a conversation that went in all directions, but still had some coffee-centric. So strap in for all you coffee people, because it's a good one, man. We got into some espresso. We got about, he had a special announcement talking about his own brand, and then talked about Sprometheus channel and where it's going and the success that he's had since the last time he was on the show. So again, I really enjoyed this, guys. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. And without further ado, Baiz, a.k.a. Sprometheus. This your time to shine, homie. Let's go. Give me caffeine and green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Good. Caffeine and green.
You're being sneaky. I'm like, what is this guy talking about right now?
And we're live.
All right. Oh, well, see, I already cracked mine.
I know, but
it's
see,
like,
I was about to crack mine, and then I was all, I should definitely wait. Because I always get so excited whenever I get to do it. Although this is a great Thorn Street brew. It's amazing.
It's one of their new ones.
Mm-hmm. Tread lightly. Yeah, it's very nice. Sprometheus, welcome to Caffeine. Welcome back.
Thank you.
To Caffeine and Green. Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Am I the first one to do 2?
Mm-mm.
Oh, here I was thinking of special.
No, but you know what's funny? Again, talking about my homegirl who just left, who you met, Leov. She, what was I? She was asking me, she's like, who's your guest tonight? I was like, oh, Prometheus. She's like, oh, he's coming back on. I was all, yeah. I was like, it's interesting. I mean, all of my homies who've been on the show multiple times, they're all professionals in their own right. You're the first coffee Oh, Siri and Jay were on before, but like you're the first head roaster that I've had back on. There we go.
Okay.
That's a ride too.
Siri's.
Fuck, Siri's a head roaster.
Damn, dude.
Nah.
I'm the first video creator.
Yes, you're the first YouTube creator. You're the fucking Sprometheus, bro.
I am the one and only.
Yes, you are. And you come by every Friday now.
I do. I'll
to
see
the
you
shop
tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
Yes. This is going to be a good time. And it's funny because when you do come by the shop, if you haven't showed up by a certain time, me and Josh or whoever's open, it's like, it's Friday. The fuck is this for?
And I've only done it like 3 weeks in a row, and now all of a sudden you guys are like, where's he at?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do the Insta. We get like all hyped.
Yeah.
And then we talk some shit. It's fun.
Yeah. And
it's a good Friday.
He's into pouring those birthing swans.
Yeah.
But he didn't even do one for me last week. So tomorrow I'm, you have to just let him know the expectation is there. And when I show up to
he better be ready.
Drop that fire.
I honestly don't know. He's not opening tomorrow. So definitely, I would say if you're going to come and see him, come at like 10. But if you want to come
I got plans at 10, bro.
Oh,
I'm teaching an espresso class.
You're teaching a class tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
For who?
For Solutions.
Okay. Damn. So what does that entail?
It's a new hire who's basically taking the job that I created at Solutions as like, it's basically their dispatcher, but also like troubleshooting. And he's new to the whole espresso game. So basically you have to go over kind of, this is an espresso machine. This is a group head. This is a steam one. This is what happens when the grind's too fine. This is what happens when the grind's too coarse. And you kind of have to go over like.
He doesn't know anything?
That's my understanding.
Whoa.
So I kind of have to like teach him how to, think critically on his feet, like on the phone with people because. And
troubleshooting a very complicated machine.
Yeah, but also like understanding that some of these problems aren't that complicated and people, it gets us money or gets Solutions money to go out on a job where all they have to do is change the grind. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the schedule is so tight and we only have so many technicians. So it's just such a pain in the ass if you can't just be like, hey, have you tried, like I take your portafilter out, run the group. Do you see water? And they're like, yeah. So when you put the portafilter into the grounds and you don't see water, that's a grind problem. You need to coarse up your grind.
Oh.
So like those types of things like that are super
Sick.
simple from like a barista standpoint, but aren't like, someone who's never worked on a bar. Like that's where I learned all my stuff. I had never worked in a cafe before working in that job. Mm-hmm. And I was new to San Diego. So I had to sit there with Google Maps open too the whole time trying to like figure out where stuff was and schedule technicians. And so it's a whole trip.
Damn, as a dispatcher using Google Maps to tell people like, yo, I don't know this city, bro. Like,
yeah,
what
like
the
I'm
fuck?
new here, dude. Like, oh, Del Mar to Carlsbad, that's like 5 minutes, dude. Look at this.
Right. It depends on what time of day. I know,
dude. It's just like, that's why, you start to understand those things. You have to learn how to like put in lunch breaks. And like, I was basically the first person to come and I set like a pretty high standard. Mm-hmm, so the technicians like have basically hated everybody who's come in to do that job since I left. And that was like over 2 years ago, and there's been like 3 or 4 since I left.
Damn, for real?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, it was so much better when Asa was here.
Yeah, so now I'm going to come in and like try and like train the new guy on the whole process. I think he's coming from Whole Foods.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
So,
damn.
He's got kale on lock, but
oh my God.
Technicians.
Let it go with the kale. So one thing actually on my way over here, before we get into some new stuff that you got going on, of course, the one thing that I've been kind of obsessing about, and I definitely wanted to geek out with you and kind of get your thoughts on, was espresso. Mm-hmm. Espresso blend, amount of like time that you're pulling shots at. I mean, because although you are the head roaster at Leap, with your YouTube channel and Sprometheus and your YouTube videos and your success with that, you do a lot of latte art, but you're also working on that La Marzocco, and you're pulling shots. So I'm assuming as much time as you are filming, doing all of your latte art, you're still spending just as much time with the espresso. One thing as a creator, did you create your blend or did you take over a blend and just like?
I created it.
You created it.
So I came into a blend at Leap. I didn't change the name. So the name was created by the guy who started Leap, and basically he had passed away. And so I see it as like kind of a continuance of his
like
creation.
A legacy almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to change the name. But what I did was it was super lemony. It was like a really lemon forward. And then with the rise of oat milk, like we had basically had to redo our blend purely for oat milk.
Whoa.
Lemon's a pretty common.
Like you're talking about like acidity?
Yeah. Well, flavor too. Like,
okay.
There was it was a Colombia, Guatemala, and an Ethiopia, and all of them are washed. And so the Colombia and Ethiopia, were pretty lemon forward. It was like a Yirgacheffe lemon. Mm-hmm. And then it was like a Colombian that was like citric forward. And then the Guatemala kind of brought in a little bit of like hazelnut, a little bit of honey, which it was nice.
Was it tart too?
It wasn't until you added oat milk to it.
Ah.
So I was tasting things with oat milk because we were trying to figure out which oat milk we were going to go with. So I found one that I liked. I ended up with, in the beginning we were doing Oatly, and then we switched to Califia when Oatly kind of fell through the cracks for us. But I was tasting these things with oat milk, and I'm like, this tastes great with whole milk. It tastes great on its own, but as soon as I put Oatly in this or oat milk, it tastes like a lemon bomb. Like, what's going on? So we need to kind of reassess.
Yeah.
And so, when I first started, I was under the misconception that the lighter the better, right?
Even the lighter roast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was like, third wave, dark coffee is the enemy, right?
Even for your espresso blend?
Like just in general, because I came in with zero experience, right? The only experience I had was like, I know I like the fruitier forward, all these things. I had never made a blend before. And so I was like, what am I going to do with this blend? And so in the beginning, when I was moving forward with the blend they had, I was changing the roast and kind of trying to dial that in. And then switching gears, I was like, okay, I want to do a different base. And I'd only want to do 2 coffees because I feel like
a 50-50?
Yeah. Or not even a 50-50, but just like right now it's like a 70-30.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, it's too complicated with 3 coffees. All of our batch sizes right now roasting are the same. And so if I do something that's too high or too low in terms of like weight, I've got all this extra coffee left. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So trying to cut back on waste too. So there was lots of little business decisions into the mix there too. I was just trying to figure all these things out because I was kind of dropped into a position that I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, what's the best base for an espresso? Thinking back to espressos that I've liked, like Guatemala and Brazil.
Standard.
Pretty standard bases.
Your chocolate, your darks, your nut, just a little bit of orange zest kind of thing, flavors, yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I need to find a base that's relatively inexpensive, but still hits like an 85-point specialty grade. And then find something that brings in a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of, like for me, Ethiopians are kind of like the holy grail of coffees. Although Colombia's coming in hot lately.
Dude, Colombia has some fire.
Shout out to La Palma, El Tucan. Like that farm is dropping some fire, but that's so expensive. There's no way I'm putting that in espresso.
Yeah.
But going back to that, I was like, all right, I want to find a nice Ethiopian and a nice Brazil or Guatemala. Guatemalas were all like over $2 a pound at the time. So I went with the Brazil. I think it was like $1.70, $1.80, which is
that's
like
still pretty high.
I mean, we still wanted to hit an 85 point. Like we still want to be able to call it a specialty coffee. So we were like, okay, we're sticking with, this 86 point Brazil. And I got like a $3, $3.30 a pound Ethiopia to go in there in like the smaller amount. And then from there, it was just dialing in the roast, tasting it with other milks and kind of setting that tone. We ended up kicking coconut milk off the program, soy milk off the program. Yep. So now it's just almond and oat and whole. Almond, oat, and whole.
You know, it's interesting. Shout out to Tyler at Tired Ice. He's going to be coming on the show. When I went there to go visit him the other day, I didn't notice, but they only serve oat and almond. No
That's
whole.
A fact.
Nothing like that. I was like, damn. And when I had their stuff, I didn't drink any milk drinks there, but yeah, he had some fire there. But I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see more of that because people are getting less afraid of being able to show that, okay, this is my belief system. Like I believe that, I don't want to serve dairy and things like that. And for me, that's totally cool. Like if that's your jive.
Yeah.
Like
no, all good.
I'm a whole milk or no milk kind of guy. Like it's just not my choice.
Yeah.
Especially I feel like it changes the coffee way too much. I taste way too much oat when I get oat milk. I taste almond. I get almond and matcha, and that's pretty much it.
Dude, almond, literally, I can do oat. Oat's fine to me. Fucking almond milk is just, dude, as soon as you pour that in, all you could taste is almond. You can't even taste the coffee anymore. It's like you're drinking caffeinated almond milk.
Basically.
That's all it is.
And so I'm just like, okay, I need to get, if I'm going to get my milk drinks, I'm going somewhere else. But Tired Eyes does a solid job. Like he is kind of with me on that whole program of getting rid of the pour over. And
you don't want the pour overs?
No, pour overs are done, man.
Why?
Over.
Why?
It's like that guy from Portlandia. Pour overs are over.
I fucking make a pour over every morning.
They're great at home. Like if you're at home and make a pour over, it's part of your daily routine. That's great, man. Like I make a pour over at home every once in a while, and I make them in the back at the roastery too.
Yeah.
But on bar, it's such a time waster, and they're so like there's so much labor involved, there's so much time involved, and I think that overall, like the amount of time and labor and effort that goes into making it, that there's such a huge variance in quality. Like if you're in a busy shop and the person who's on the register is also the person who's making your pour overs, you have someone who may not be paying full attention to it, and people are like, oh, we'll just hire another barista or whatever. But people also don't understand, like, this is a business too. Like there's something called a labor percentage that we have to be under or at. And, you know, we can't just hire people to fill these gaps because of one time we have a line between, 10 and noon.
Yeah.
Like,
no, this is the busy times.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it. Yeah. And so, from the outside perspective, it's just an easy fix. We want pour overs, so hire another barista. But in the end, if you're paying like $5.50, $6 for a pour over and you're paying a barista $10, $12 an hour, that doesn't add up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and there's so many. Dude, I remember our first weekend open here. Somebody made this guy a pour over, literally the first weekend, and they're sitting out there and it's popping. And he came back and he was like, "This pour over's gross. It's astringent and all this stuff." And I'm not gonna drink it. He's obviously been drinking it. So I'm just like, "Yo, I'm so sorry. We'll make you another one." Made him another one. He was like, "Oh, it's totally fine. Blah blah. Like all good." And then that same dude went on Yelp. And I seen dude's picture. I was like, asked the dude. I went out of my way for it, but he was just like, "This place is so unprofessional. Like they didn't have a good pour over, and da 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 da," and just like going off about it. It's like, bro, what? Like, there was a line out the door, and then all of a sudden we're like pumping it. Can I get a pour over?
Yep. Some places I know that, and I'm not a regular over there, but I know that Communal doesn't do pour overs if they're busy. Like they'll cut off pour overs if they have like a line.
That's
like
a good idea.
More than 4 people in line, they cut off pour overs, which, in the end, you're asking for more trouble. I think that is a good idea in like thought, but I think in practice, it doesn't really work because what you're going to do is you're going to get people pissed off more than being like, oh, we actually don't serve pour overs, but we take a lot of time dialing in our batch brew, and this is what we do. Like that's what Tyler does, and that's kind of when I open a cafe, that's what I'm going to do because there's so much technology and things that are going into batch brewing now that you can get like, special shower heads and you can get, a TDS meter and you can really dial that shit in and you can do smaller batches. You can do half gallon or gallon batches and do like, you don't have as much variety as maybe you'll have, if going into a shop and saying, oh, I can choose from these 4 coffees or whatever. But in the end, when I talk to people, like even baristas, they don't really want that many choices. And giving people a bunch of choices is a slippery slope. Because,
it is. It is because then then it goes back to the waste thing that you were talking about. Because like if people I've had to talk to the staff and I'm like, hey, don't say it's like a light because as soon as you say it's a light roast, a lot of people will be like, no, I don't want that. Just say it's like a medium light. Medium dark, medium light. I do special roasts for like Italian clients, or we have a Cuban client down south or down in downtown and they like their Cuban coffee. So I'll do it somewhat similarly, but those are the darkest coffees we'll actually do. Everything else is pretty mellow. It's like within that spectrum. It's like full city plus, nothing really, unless I'm roasting a Robusta. The Robusta is super light roast. I'm talking like minute 20, like post crack, like sometimes shit's still popping, like when it's dropping in the tray, like oh shit, because dude, you take it any too far, bro, it's not even good. It's just whiskey and licorice. Hella gross.
Some people like that though,
dude. Hella nasty, bro. Just disgusting. Like you ever had Fernet?
It's been a minute, but
alcohol.
I have,
Ugh. Like ugh. There's like somebody handed me that once, like, yo, let me buy you a shot, G. Like, all right, let me get it. Boom, get the shot. And I was like, what is it? He's like, just take it. What is it? Just take it. It's clear, bro. Is it tequila? Just take it. All right, hit it. Bro, I literally have never had a grosser shot in my entire adult life. And I was like, bro, what? Licorice? And he was like, it's called Fernet. I'm like, dude, I don't say hate. I don't say that word. I don't even like saying I hate people, but yeah, like
I was just about to say I hate licorice,
dude.
Like it's the flavor that I can't deal.
I cannot eat licorice. It just something. There's not a lot of things I can't eat in this world. licorice is 100% the top number thing, like the number one on my list.
Yep.
I might like cut off a hand and like not eat licorice or something, bro. It's disgusting. Like
Even the smell is too much for me.
red licorice all day, chocolate licorice. Let's do this. You give me black licorice. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
But anyways, about black licorice. The one thing that was interesting about, like, I like to touch on was you were talking about batch brew, and I didn't know that Tyler, he gave me like an Ethiopian. I don't know if it was a blend or if it was just a single origin, but it was an amazing batch of cup of coffee when I went down there the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my. I love our pour overs. I love doing espresso. Espresso is my obsession, 100%. Cold brew, love it. Think it's great. But I fucking love batch brew, bro. Batch brew is my favorite thing, period. There's nothing else that compares better than that. I mean, you can go to like a mom and pop shop that is just disgusting coffee, but they have great donuts, and like you've been going there for 10 years, so you love it anyways. It's shit coffee, but it's still just a good batch brew coffee. Like, yeah.
Yep.
Bob's Donuts on Polk Street, San Francisco. Shout out to Bob's. Dude, 24-hour donut shop. Same lady's been working there for like 30 years. I go in there, and dude, I won't even lie. Still to this day, I work in specialty coffee. I'll get a cup of coffee from them. I'll go over, half and half, equal. Boom. Mix it up, and then I eat my donut and walk back down the street. Like, yo, I know it might be sacrilege to a specialty coffee person, but like the vibe in the city, and I know this lady, and they have the only donut shop that has chocolate raspberry-filled donuts. Yo, fuck with me, son.
I think drinking bad coffee is important as a coffee professional, to be honest with you. Like, I actually had this same conversation with my brother, and I just like shot his ass down because we were going to Vegas, and he was like, "Are you bringing coffee?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not bringing coffee. It's not like we're going to like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's Vegas."
They have an emerging scene there too.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, well, just like I don't want to drink the swill at the hotel." And I'm like, "Dude, that the swill at the hotel makes you really appreciate the good shit that you get to have on a fairly regular basis, so pretty much daily."
Yeah.
So, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's a fact." But
really
like,
is.
batch brew is, Tyler's got a modded brewer as well. He's got like a special shower head.
Okay.
You can get like specifically like unique grinder burrs for like EKs and stuff from like SSP, and just really dial that shit in to where I would like to test some baristas against that and be like, "Hey, here's a pour over. Tell me what you think." And like, "Oh yeah, this is really great." But that's actually a batch brew. Because I think a lot of people, even coffee people, have like this mindset that batch brew is subpar compared to a pour over.
But why?
And I think it comes from, for one, it's as wrong as it might be, people equate cost to quality. And batch brew is, half or not more than that.
$2, $3, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, you're paying $5.50 or $6 or $7, or even in my case when I've paid $35 for a pour over, and you're gonna get a pour over, and you can try a batch brew that has a good quality coffee and it's fresh, and someone paid attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll be just as good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you were saying about waste too, like I look at it from that perspective too now as a roaster, and also knowing what the budget is, like being in touch with what my green coffee budget is, and in touch with like waste logging and things like that. So I'm like, okay, I roast all these batches of these single origins. We have 4 single origins, and I roast a batch of those, and I keep that like those all week long, right? Mm-hmm. And they're making pour overs of that. But let's say, a couple of them aren't that popular that week, and now I've got like 2 pounds of each of these coffees left out of a 5-pound batch, and I'm like, what do I do with this coffee? So I think being able to do batch brew is much more cost effective, and there's less waste because you don't have to have 5 or 6 different coffees roasted and ready to go that you may potentially have to chuck because it gets stale.
Dude, that's the thing is that on that point, it's what's really nice about our situation is that we have the farmer's market still. So anything that's left over from the end of the week, we just pump it right in the farmer's market. It's like so farmer's market technically gets its very unique blend that changes every week.
That's what our cold brew is.
Yeah, it's a fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And then whenever I sample roast, all the coffee that I build up, dude, even if it goes stale, somebody will still drink it. So I go down to the San Diego rescue mission. I've never given them my card. They only know me as the dude who drops off coffee. Every single time, I've never seen the same person at the front desk. It's like a halfway house. It's like for homeless and shit.
Sure.
And I'll just go over there, and I just go in with hella bags, and they're like, yeah, dude, you're back. Like,
Coffee guy.
Yeah, the coffee guy. And they're like, dude, you want a tax thing? I'm like, no, bro, no fucking tax thing. Like, this is... I don't even usually talk about it. The fact that I'm talking about it right now, like, I'm not doing this to get recognition.
Damn,
like,
bro.
Nah, bro. Like, it's not even like that.
Up,
nah,
man.
bro. I do it because shout out to those people. I reached out to a couple other homeless shelters out there. They never answered the phone or they didn't hit me back. So I just went into one and just dropped it off. But they fucking love it. Dude, I had a guy in there. I'm not even gonna lie. I hella cried, bro. After I got in my car, I was just like so happy. I fucking sat there and I just started crying. And I fucking even texted my wife. I texted her like the emoji because like this full fucking, he wasn't a fool, sorry. He was like a grown ass man. Mm-hmm. He was a very tall man. He was probably like 6'5", 6'6", and he's behind the counter. And I came in like 7 or 8 bags of coffee. And I was like, oh, bro, here's it is, you know, whatever. It's like, it was when I was doing like sample roasting, like Robusta and all this other shit. And he's like, you're the coffee guy. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, what's up? And he was like, man, I just have to say, this is some of the best coffee I've ever had. And he had like this southern accent. And I said, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And he said, you know, a lot of people don't just come here and donate shit. He didn't say shit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, it's all good. And he's like, do you need anything? No, I'm good. Just take this, drink it. He's like, I just want to say we appreciate you here. We thank you. And like from the bottom of our hearts, like, thank you. And he's like, can I shake your hand? And I was just like, yeah, bro, hell yeah. And I felt like super moved because I'm like, this right here is the moment. This is all I want. I don't, you know, somebody asked me the other day, you're going to open your own business. Like, of course, without a doubt. But do I need to do it to the point where I'm going to like not love working here? I love working here. Eric lets me do whatever the fuck I want to do on that roaster. So, hey, why not? Like what I did right there, I brought these people coffee for free. And some of it's super over roasted, some of it's stale, some of it's old, but they're just like, this is still the best coffee that they've ever had because the garbage they were probably drinking before, it was nothing.
For sure.
So that right there, when I got in my car, I got so happy. They were like happy tears. And I was just like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I was like wiping them back. And I was like, dude, because I've been crying a lot lately. Like, I cry all the time now. It's weird. I do.
Getting old, bro.
Dude, I get like hella moved and like I see beautiful things and beautiful people and I just like
you're out there watching a plastic bag and flying in the air.
Nah, not that, like not like that, but like I don't know. I choose to see the good in people and I choose to see the better things in life because, bro, honest to God, where we live is such a blessing. You know, my homegirl Liaf, I was telling you, she was in Israel and she was saying how they have like bomb shelters everywhere. And at one point they didn't let nobody go outside because there was fear of a missile attack, but she's like, yeah, it's normal here. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, what? Like, what do you mean I can't go outside? No, I'm gonna go outside. You know, no, you can't. There's a missile attack. Like, just the thought of that, the fact that we could do whatever the fuck we want to do in San Diego. Just go anywhere, go meet up with the homies, go do a run, go do your YouTube shit. It's, I feel lucky every single day that we're here, and I just like, I want to do more of that. So it's like if I can reflect on that and choose to see other things, it makes me so happy now that like I get overwhelmed with emotion and I can't help but like cry. I just like, it's fucking weird.
Man, you do you.
I don't know. It's weird. Because now I'm just like I can't even hide it. Like I'll hear a song and I'll start crying and shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like
I do love big butts, and I cannot lie.
It's a beautiful lyric. Red beans and roasted
Speaking to me right now,
dude. But okay, sorry, a little off track. But so last time you were on the show, we were talking about the whole like Sprometheus brand, and you had just started picking up on YouTube. You're making money off YouTube. That's tight. But now you have merch. Now you have like a little bit of a social media presence where James Hoffman. Like and to shout out to all the coffee people that might know that dude. I mean, he's a big deal. He wrote the book, The World Atlas of Coffee, and that was still to this day like essentially like a Bible almost. And it's not a Bible, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're like kind of talking shit, but then like, you know, but like it's not talking shit because it's obviously it's James Hoffman. He's like, oh, I can't even do his accent, but you know what I mean. Like, I'll watch his videos, and I'm like, dude, I'm really gonna watch a 12-minute video of this full ranting about espresso, and then by the end of it, I'm like, damn, he had some really good points in that. You know, like,
For sure.
You know, about the TDS meter, like I do not let anybody drink espresso now without the spoon. After watching his video about the swirling, or if you're using the spoon with the TDS meter.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we were talking about that because you had a video about the swirling the Spro.
Yeah, so I responded to that video and gave him a little shit, but you know, I figured he would take it well, and because he knows it's all in good fun. Like, it was literally just a little jokey kind of like intro to a video that I did. So I did a collaboration with a company called Groove, which did a special cup. So before they did cups for black coffee and carafes that are designed scientifically to basically equalize certain parts of the coffee and like minimize other parts. So like if you drink it out of this cup shape, you'll get, you know, a sweeter cup. If you drink out of this cup shape, you'll get a bolder cup. Like, it's really interesting, the science behind the whole thing.
Interesting.
And so they finally came out with an espresso cup, and they reached out to me a few months before they released, and they said, hey, we want to send you like a pre-production version. I'd love to see if you could do a video with it or whatever. And like, you know, if you have any footage of it, like, because we don't have any footage of it with like your specific machine or like in a house. So like, you know, hook us up with some footage and we'll send you some, you know, some gear. And I'm like, awesome, for sure. And then it kind of, you know, went away for a while until they were like ready to launch, and they reached out again. They're like, hey, we're about to release. We're also talking to James Hoffman about, you know, it was so funny because like they sent me this cup and it's got like internal fins for basically stirring your espresso while you swirl. And I was like, oh, we're talking to James Hoffman about that video he did. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've got an idea. I'll do a video. Here's my plan. Like, I just kind of gave him a general idea. And this was the first time I've made a video where like I kind of brought in humor into the mix. Yeah. And, you know, it wasn't like a huge hit. Like, generally my videos get between 5 and 10,000 views. Like, my biggest videos are like over 100. But in the end, it was like probably something I'm most proud of because I did a lot of editing. It took the longest time to put together, and like I had to get sound effects, and I had to get, you know, a filter of showing like raindrops when I did like something about being like sad about not being able to swirl my coffee and all this shit. And like,
yeah, dude, I watched it.
Yeah. And so it was just like fun to do. And I was like, you know, I want to do more of this like funny shit because in the end, I want to bring in more of my personality because I think that's really what builds a brand too. You know, in the end, people can't just look at my hands, which like 80 or 90% of my videos right now are watching my hands do things. Yeah. Which is great. Like, people love it. I've got like, you know, pushing now towards 13,000 subscribers. But in the end of it, like, what's really drawing them to someone like James Hoffman is like his presence. Same with Chris Baca or any YouTuber, whether it's coffee or not. Like, and so I've just dove, I don't know what's the word for that, but I've dove headfirst into YouTube and not even creating content, but also watching content. So now I don't even really watch all that much TV unless it's 90 Day Fiance. Otherwise it's all YouTube, dude. And I'm just watching other YouTubers. And right now I'm like addicted to, and I kind of wish I would have had this idea and done it earlier. I'm trying to think of how I can do it as a coffee content person because that's what people have come to expect from me. But there's a lot of like reaction videos, and I've gotten really into these reaction people. And a lot of times,
yeah, what's the deal with those? I hella don't watch them, but people are just like, watch my reaction to watching this video, and it's like, oh,
I mean, it sounds stupid, dude. It does. It sounds dumb, but like if you get the right person and they have the same type of humor as you, and for some reason, like my inner personality must be British because like James Hoffman, I love that dry, like, you know, sharp kind of wit, but also very much like put out sort of nonchalant. And so there's a few YouTubers I watch now who are, you know, pretty popular. They're like over 1 million subscribers and stuff like that who are British kids, basically. I'm 33. Most of these guys are probably like 19, 20, 22, but they're like funny and just like witty, like British kids. Yeah. And they're just reacting to like, you know, sometimes they're reacting to YouTube drama, which in the beginning I didn't really know much about, and I've learned more about it, which there is lots of interesting, unique things happening on YouTube within the format itself, but also reacting to shows like 90 Day Fiance or, specific like videos that people put out that are like, they're basically calling people out for being criminals or, all this like crazy stuff. So it's just like, I'm Alex is one of them. James Marriott is another one. Like, I just like watch these videos and they're just so funny to me. I can't even really explain why. And probably to like 80% of people, they're not that funny.
Fuck it.
But also Gus Johnson. Shout out to Gus Johnson. Dude.
Gus Johnson. I don't even know this guy. What does he do?
I mean, he was like one of those guys who created, he's like coming up with meme videos. Like,
okay.
A lot of them are like 30 seconds long or 15 seconds long, but they're so like, and it is kind of a meme to call, something relatable, because like that's what everyone's aiming for, is to make things relatable. But his shit's like so relatable because he's from a small town in Wisconsin and I'm from a small town in Montana, and he's like has a lot of these series where he's like kids who got married straight out of high school. Ugh. Or like the guy who never wears a jacket, and like has these little songs, and I'll show them to you like after the podcast, because they're so fucking funny, but they're so accurate. Like, I knew all these people. And then he did one most recently about Subway, and like these things that you never think about, right? Like, yeah. But they happen, but you just like never were like, I could make a video about this and become famous, right? But he is a Subway like customer like pretty regularly, and he gets jalapenos, as I do. Like, I'm a spicy guy. And so it's like he goes and he's like, why are there so many stems in these jalapenos from Subway?
Jalapenos?
Yeah. And he's like, why are there so many stems in here? And I've noticed that same shit, but I've never been like, I'm gonna make a video about this shit. Oh my God. He goes to 4 different Subways, buys 20 sandwiches with jalapenos in it, and on video opens them up, pulls out all the stems in each sandwich. One of them had like 6 stems in there, and only one sandwich out of the 20 had 0 stems. There was a total of like 50 some odd stems in these 20 sandwiches. And when you explain that shit to someone, it sounds stupid because the way you're looking at me is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, dude, this is what
the way he did it is so funny. And it's got like 2 million views. And if you put that into like, I don't know what every YouTuber, depending on how popular you are, you get more money for ad space. So I don't know what his like ad space cost is, but he's probably made like $15,000 off that video at least. And it's just like, dude, that's
$15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do that too.
Well,
so this is
wild.
Dude, honestly, on that tip, I mean, I wanted to say is like, dude, I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube. I'm at the gym. I'm on fucking doing cardio. I'm watching fucking YouTube with my like the Bluetooth just ready to go. Mm-hmm. I'm watching same thing. It's so funny. I had my computer open the other day, and it was like this girl. It's this Asian girl who I watch.
I keep my open to other girls too all the time.
No, stop.
That's single life, bro.
It's an Asian girl who's like an influencer who's like teaching you life hacks about not life hacks, but like how to boost your social media content like more organically and like interacting and doing these things. Dude, I don't know everything there is to know about how to maneuver social media marketing and all that stuff. So hey, I'm gonna watch these videos on YouTube, or I'll watch other people and they're like, you got to do YouTube this and do that and start doing it. I've gotten to the point now where I'm even thinking about buying a camera just to have it, so I don't have to do Twitch like this no more on the phone. I could just do it through a camera and upload it straight to YouTube. Mm-hmm. Have a splitter, doing all these things. It's getting to a point where we were just talking about before the podcast even started. It's like, dude, this is a 100% a full-time, part-time job. If that even makes sense, you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly, because that's what it is for me. Dude. Like I put a lot of time into it, and right now, I mean, I don't have enough of a viewership to make enough to, per month to pay my rent or anything like that. No. You know what I mean? So it's a grind, it's one of those things like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, but it's also addicting. But
you also like doing it. Like, you love doing it, or you wouldn't be doing it in the first place.
Do you have times where you do love it and you have times where you do hate it? Because there's one of those things where it becomes more of a job. The more people depend on you for that content, and the more people you have asking for things, like as soon as you post something, like every Thursday I post when I'm going to like a preview or the trailer or like the screenshot or like the thumbnail of the video I'm going to put out the next day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm stoked for it. This is awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to be there, whatever. But then you'll have people who are like, oh, can you do this video? Or why didn't you do it with this and this one? Like, dude, like, Give a guy a break.
There's only so much you can do in a day. You know what's funny is that when I was first starting, it was like I was not addicted to it, but I was so committed to doing the podcast that even my wife at the time was like, "You're always on your phone." I'm like, dude, I'm doing the fucking podcast. Like I have to, like, I used to have one podcast a week, which was a lot easier to do the marketing aspect of it. 'Cause it was like build up 2 days leading up to the podcast. And then a day after, like 2 days after, basically one person got shined for an entire week. And numbers were always more downloadable, but now I put out 2 a week. And it's like, working here at the cafe, it's like, bro, like,
yeah, I can't imagine doing 2 videos a week, dude.
Dude, it's so fucking gnarly. And I'm getting to the point where I have to make like a plan. I have to at least be sitting on one just in case, like next week, like this episode is going to come out on Monday, maybe Wednesday, depending on, it's like, I don't have one lined up for next week. I only have just one. So, but then the following weeks, it's like two, boom, boom, boom. It's like, I'm already lining up December right now. Yep. But it's like, yo, we got to get the content back on track as far as marketing aspect of it wise.
Consistency is key, though, dude. I'm telling you, if you want to do it twice a week, post the same days every week. Because even as a consumer of podcasts and content like that, like my expectation is when I love some content, I'm like, I want to see that content. Like I look forward to it. Yeah. And it kind of like fucks with your day a little bit. If you're like, oh, dude, this podcast I love, like this episode come out, and then you're like, where is it? And then you fall off, right? Like if you're listening to podcasts and like you switch to another one, and then you're on that podcast for however long it takes to basically switch back. Yeah. And so it's really easy to lose people in that respect. Yeah. So like I've just find it extremely important to post like every Friday at 9 a.m. And I've done that since the beginning, and I've been doing it for almost a year straight. And I think that in the end, a lot of YouTube channels either fail or don't grow because they're not putting that stuff out on a regular basis, and people get discouraged because they're like, man, it's like impossible to get the first 100 subscribers, or it's impossible to get the first 1,000 subscribers. And I was scraping to get the first 100. I was like asking people, like while I'm standing next to them, like, hey, can you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe? Like I need to hit 100 so I can get my own URL, because that's like the first step.
Is that really?
And so before, like I was just youtube.com/ a bunch of gibberish, right?
A bunch of gibberish.
And now it's, the real Sprometheus. And so you have to keep pushing and grinding, and like SEO is a huge factor. Like a lot of people don't fill out, like there's keywords, right? So the way I fill out my keywords is I go, what is this video about? So I go onto it, I open another tab on YouTube, and I put in like let's say for tomorrow's video, it's the flare versus the rock. And I'll put in flare espresso maker and see what the top search terms are for that. And then pick those out, put them in the keywords, and then go like put in rock espresso maker, pull those out, put in like home espresso machines, pull those out, like, and I just pull them until it tells me I can't put any more in.
Damn.
And same with Instagram.
When you look those up, do you how are you finding the keywords?
Just going into the search bar and just type, flare espresso, and then you'll see like flare espresso machine, flare espresso review, flare espresso, blah, blah, blah. And you see all what people are searching based on like the amount that they've searched it. So the top one is obviously the one that's most searched. And then, the interesting thing is you can also go in later, which I also like to do, and look at like, just put in a term like espresso on YouTube and see where my videos fall. And it's super exciting to see my videos on that first page of responses, right? Like I'm up there with James Hoffman, with Chris Baca, and a couple of the people who are like pumping out like food content in general, like binging with Baiz, who recently did like a coffee thing. He's like, got 2 million some odd views on his videos. Like he's mainly just a cuisine channel. He does like a lot of food, but he just did one like of espresso drinks. And so that's one of the things I was looking at of doing a reaction video to, kind of reacting in a fun way, poking fun at this guy who's got like millions of subscribers, and the way that like, okay, dude, like you're doing a video about espresso drinks, but you're a chef. Like, so kind of maybe poking fun at somebody who's talking about coffee but doesn't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
But what about, okay, but see, then if you look at the other way, though, on that same note, like I've had chefs on this show. I have related more with chefs as a coffee person than I actually have any other people when it comes to other than actual coffee people, because they understand like a developed palate. You know what I mean? You know, so you can taste the flavors. They might have, the thing is though, is when coffee's so distinct that when you actually have a developed coffee palate, you can actually kind of taste other normal tasting things like a lot better, I feel like, because when you have a coffee palate, it's like you're searching. It takes a long time to develop, like, oh, that tastes like blueberry, or this tastes like strawberry, this or that. But then when you actually just taste a regular strawberry, like, damn, like, oh, this is hella nice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not going to go toe-to-toe with a chef on flavor notes or anything like that. Like, we have our coffee in a restaurant called Death by Tequila up in Encinitas.
Yeah.
And the owner of that, Angelo, is, I don't know if he won, but he was like a finalist on like Top Chef or something.
Oh, shit.
So he's
really?
like a legit dude. And I didn't know this. He came in. I haven't watched like actual food shows since like old school Iron Chef, like Japanese.
Oh yeah,
Iron
no,
Chef. Like,
yeah.
I love that shit. But he came in to pick out his coffee, and he wanted something from Mexico, and so I sourced a few Mexican coffees, roasted them, and then we brought him in to taste them. And he's like smelling the green coffee, and he's like tasting all these coffees and saying all these things like I would never, they're way over my head in terms of the things he's coming up with. Like they're way outside of my palate development, because he's relating them to food, and he has 20 years or more of chef work.
Yeah.
Where he's tasted so many things. And so like I respect that in like a huge way. And it's not that I don't respect someone who comes out and is going to do a video on coffee, but the thing I wanted to poke fun at was like he was like, oh, these are how you make these specific espresso beverages. And it was a sponsored video. You see Tradecraft in a lot of these videos now. They're kind of getting out there to like they're doing all the subscription stuff. Mm-hmm. But I kind of wanted to just like poke and prod a little bit, because in the way, like even if it like maybe makes someone mad, I don't think it would make him mad, because I'm like a 12,000 subscriber. I'm not like gonna rip him up.
You're the little guy.
Yeah,
I'm
not gonna
trying to
like
ruffle the feathers, bro.
Exactly. I'm not gonna rip him up. I'm just gonna be like, hey man, if you want to do a coffee video, like let's collab, as opposed to like
let's collab.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
but you still suck.
But your cappuccino is shit,
dude.
And he was like, well, if you want to see latte art, you're on the wrong channel. And I'm like, dude, you're doing a video about this is how you make all these coffee drinks, and they all look the same. And I'm just like, okay, dude, like you have 1.2 million people who are watching this, and they're like, oh, this is how these drinks are supposed to look, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
So,
it's a craft, bro.
Get me up in there, dude.
We're in a fucking craft. That's what
dude.
it is. It's like you wouldn't go to a sommelier and some other bullshit and talk about like, oh, this is what it is, but it's like, oh yeah, this is some box wine. Nah, son. What you're tasting is some fucking whatever. I don't know any wine terms, but like that was actually probably a bad analogy.
But when it comes to cooking, like I'll let him cook, dude. But like when it comes to coffee, dude,
yo, let me do my coffee thing.
Come at me, like
yo, at me.
Reach down, to a smaller channel and be like, hey, this guy's trying to grow. He's got a family-friendly channel. Like I don't cuss on my channel, like all these things. So bring it up.
That actually, you don't cuss on your channel. That's nice. That's cute.
I did say shit once. The video's not out yet, but I bleeped it.
On that note, even though you don't swear, you always say like stay. What is it? Stay golden, pony boy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Stay caffeinated, pony boy.
Stay caffeinated, pony boy. Sorry. But I was watching Step Brothers the other day, and like there's the scene where John C. Reilly is having sex with the dude's wife in the bathroom, and they like finish, and she was like, "Stay golden, pony boy," and I was all, dude, okay. Is that where you got it from? And
it comes from a famous movie, and I can't remember the movie. This is an interesting segue though, because there's something so attractive about that woman. I don't remember her name, but she's in a show now on HBO called Mrs. Fletcher.
That lady specifically?
Yeah. And she plays a character kind of like that, where she's like, not like to that crazy extent, but she's basically like a divorcee whose son just went off to college, and now she's like kind of discovering her sexuality. It's actually it's kind of a funny show, but it's also like, there's something so attractive about that woman, and I cannot describe it.
Dude, you watch some interesting shows because 90 Day Fiance and then that chick.
Dude, I love that chick. I'll marry that chick. Her and Tina Fey, dude.
Whoa. You have a type, bro. Like, yo.
Funny brunettes with glasses.
Kind of plain Janes.
Rude, bro.
Is that rude? Sorry.
I mean, calling someone a plain Jane is, like, let's say if that
How
was like
about
my
basic?
actual, that's still.
I mean, she has hella money, so whatever. But like.
But even if you're like, okay, so like, hey, Kano, this is my wife, so and so, and you're like, dude, yeah, she's plain Jane. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's a rude ass thing to say.
Yeah. I'd be like, yo, I would never say that to your face if that was your wife, but.
I mean, like, you know.
That's like pillow talk. If you're like with your chick in the bed and you're like, yeah, so Ace's wife, huh? Plain Jane. Yeah. Like that.
I mean,
I'm totally
guess,
kidding.
I guess I just, you know, I hold personality on a higher field than you do.
Bro. Dude, I actually have some choice words to say about that. I've never really been. I always liked smart girls. I thought smart girls were like definitely attractive, but I was never attracted to like smart girls. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? I was attracted to them because they were like smart, but then I was like, oh well, like I'm not gonna like date them.
I don't know if it's smart so much as it is like. I guess I grew up with women who like called me on my shit.
That's
and were sharp-witted.
Yeah.
And that's important to me.
See, that's as I've gotten older, I appreciate that more. So the fact that it's not that it's personality. When I can see somebody
so gassy today.
Dude, I was burping like a motherfucker. Sorry, everybody. My wife is very smart and she's hot. So it's like, oh, it's double whammy. Like, that's perfect. The other thing, though, as I've gotten older and I've started to shift in what I've considered, like, attractive in women in general. And, it's, of course, when you're young, it's just like, oh, my gosh, she's so gorgeous. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, she could be dumb as a bag of rocks and just, like, but she's gorgeous. And then as you get older, you start to, like, meet people who are just, like, you're attracted to their brain. It doesn't even matter what they look like. You start having like thoughts about these people and you're like
impure thoughts.
Like, what the fuck? Like, is that for real? It just kind of blows my mind. And as I've gotten older, like the smarter the person is definitely like a more of an attractive character or trait, attractive trait. Yeah. And that's just like, wow. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Cause today I say this with the preface of like, especially in today's day and age where so many people are like yourself. They're independent hustlers. They're out there getting it. They're grinding super hard. They have a regular job or they have a passion project or, you know, just in general, there's so many things technologically advanced now and people have to either adapt or people have to learn how to fix things on their own, but you can use your phone and do it and boom, like you're just making shit happen.
For sure.
You see that in anybody. That's an attractive trait. A man, a woman, whatever. Because there's people who still don't like, nah, I can't do it. It's like, why don't you just look it up? Oh, it's just it's too hard. It just didn't take time. It's like, just fucking take the time. Do it. Just whatever.
Critical thinking is kind of rare.
Is it really though?
I feel like, I'm not going to go into examples, but I feel like, you know, working in the coffee industry and dealing with, and maybe it's not so much the personality, but maybe it's like, you know, because they're looking at it like a minimum wage job, like the refusal to actually like look at things in a little more critical way and kind of like figure them out. Mm-hmm. They're like, I don't get paid enough to do that. And I mean, like I'll come in and like the grinder's jammed and I'm like, did you like empty out the coffee and like course it all the way up and then turn it on and back off and like, you know, normal troubleshooting things, and they're like, nah, dude, it's too much work. And I'm just like,
it's like, well, then what are we paying you for?
Be like, well, you can't make coffee for anybody until you do that. So that needs to get done first. Like, I don't need to get, neither me or the owner or anybody else need to get text messages from you at like 4:30 in the morning being like, the grinder doesn't work. And then we come in and find that, oh, we just called in a service call for something that literally took 2 minutes to, you know, fix. So like, you know.
It happens. It happens. But that also comes, I think, with that being said, that point, there's so many things that are shifting where now careers can be made in coffee. So, with that being said, I mean, things are going up in price and people like living wages. And I mean, that's a constant debate, a transparency of, livable wages for baristas and all these other things. But it's also a commitment thing. It's like, for me personally, I already, worked in sales and marketing and PR, and I did that. Didn't like it. Matter of fact, when you run into people who are like straight salespeople, it's almost tough to talk to them.
Oh, it's impossible.
It's just, and I hated that, bro. Like, I don't even like saying hey, and that's when I say it, it just comes out like, ooh.
I sold cars for a year, and like half the people who were selling cars with me were like that, and I'm just like, you are an unrelatable human being.
Dude,
like, I cannot deal with you.
I can't fuck with it, bro, because I only can sell you something if I really believe in the product.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm selling you some horse shit, that just makes me feel like garbage. I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. I want to give you something I believe in. That's why I can sit here and roast coffee for somebody because, I believe in this. Like, yo, I put my stamp on this. This is me, son.
You put your sample in there,
Boom.
dude?
What?
You put your sample in there?
That's my sample, son. Yo, what's it? Like, yo, this is me right here. Like, you look at those bags of coffee. This is me. That's an extension of me right there.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that also being said, that's a good segue into you have something coming up, sir.
I do.
You heard it here first, Caffeine and Green. Can you talk about it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So
Yeah.
what do you got cracking aside from the Sprometheus brand on YouTube and what you're doing in your merch and you're out here killing it? What's coming down the pipeline for you?
So moving through like my brand, my biggest goal is to be, an independent roaster and have my own company roasting coffee and all that fun stuff. So,
yep.
But I kind of realized over the past, 6 months or so that there's no perfect time to dive into your own project and what you want to do. Like, I'm 33, like I'm not getting any younger.
Yep.
And there's no such thing as a perfect time. So I figured I'm just going to pull the trigger. I'm going to start, my own roasting company, and I'm just going to start small. I kind of, sort of like the way Tyler from Tired Eyes started, just roasting in his parents' backyard on like a 1 kilo.
Yeah.
I fortunately have the ability to rent time on the roaster that I use for work. The owner is very, open to it. She kind of looks at all of us employees like children, for better or for worse. It's kind of a family vibe, which, I can say that definitely works for and against the company's favor at times. But
100%. Completely agree.
Yeah. But, she was like, I completely support, what you want to do. And, I'll sell you time on the roaster, whatever you need, let me know if you need to take time off, like let me know, and just all that stuff. So she's very, open with how I was doing this. And that was the one thing I was mostly worried about bringing it up to her, because I didn't want her to see it as competition. Because that's really not what I'm trying to do. And my expectation is people who are buying the coffee for the most part aren't going to be even in San Diego. I'm going to try to, utilize, the following and the social media and the YouTube to try and, sell, a few bags of coffee online and just kind of see where that takes me over the next, year or so. And then eventually open my own brick and mortar cafe. In terms of the whole plan of it, like right now I'm working on the branding, and we were talking about that earlier. I'm still trying to figure out the design. I have a name. I'm not going to drop that quite yet. But I've got the name on Instagram. I've got the URL bot. I've got the copywriter, the trademark bot. And so,
damn, that's what's good.
Yeah. So I've got all the ducks in a row there. So now I'm just like,
You got the business plan?
Business plan. I mean, like there's really no business plan currently because it's just selling coffee online.
Okay.
But the things that are in line for that, I've got a checklist of things I need to get done before I can start doing this. I need to like register with the state and all that fun stuff. But
yeah,
there's a few small bits and pieces, but right now, like the branding is kind of my, in my, forefront of what I'm trying to do. And I brought in a designer and it wasn't working out. So now I'm, kind of diving into that myself. I'm sort of a control freak when it comes to that type of thing. And I kind of look at it like, it's like naming a child, and it's like creating something that you are going to grow with. So if you're not happy with what's coming out, like, what are you going to do about it? And I just felt like I was going to be like running in circles for a while. And I figured it's kind of like a relationship, you know, I got to rip off that Band-Aid. And I'm just like, you know, I don't see it working. Let's split ties. And, you know, I'm going off on my own, the design front. I mean, I've got a design background. I've done all the stuff, like all the merch for Sprometheus. In my previous, in the podcast and Sprocasts, I did all the designs for the logos and the stickers and all that stuff. So, you know, I know how to do that stuff. I maybe am not the most efficient at it as like someone who does it for a living. Probably takes me 3 or 4 times as long to do something that's relatively simple. But in the end, you know, I can look at it and be like, I did that shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. You take some pride in what you're doing.
Yeah. So like, I have a vision in my mind and I just like kept not seeing it. And so I just need to, probably over the weekend, I'm going to kind of sit down with a sketch pad and kind of knock it out, at least get like a general idea of what I want to do. I kind of went a direction with the name to where like I kind of did exactly what I didn't want to do. I sort of draw myself into a hole where like I'm in a corner and there's not a lot of options for what the logo can be. So I'm like, oh shit. So now I got to kind of figure it out. So I'm in that process, but in general, I'm going to start pretty small. I'm just going to buy 1 bag of coffee. And again, Leap is super helpful with that because right now I buy all the coffee for the cafe and for the roastery. And so the way it's kind of lining up right now is we're going to be bringing in another single origin at Leap in the next month or 2. And so I was like, hey, is it all right if I, you know, write you a check for a bag and just bring in my first coffee with this order? Because, you know, we'll just share a pallet coming out of the annex or whatever. And she's like, yeah. So, you know, it's makes everything super simple. You know, I was thinking of buying like a 50-pound bag from like Coffee Shrub or something like that. But in the end, they don't do like wholesale. They're basically intended for like home roasters. Like, so if you know, buy a bag of coffee, you're still paying like $5, $6, $7 a pound for it. Damn. Even though it's a 50-pound bag, it seems like less, but what are you going to make back from that? Like if you're selling it, you know, for $16 to $20, you know, for 12 ounces, you know what I mean? Like you're losing a lot of your profit and your ability to grow and buy another bag of coffee and keep rolling. So yeah, it's just, it's all kind of a learning process. Dude,
why did you want to do this? I mean, I know you said because you're 33, it's not getting any younger, but why?
You know, I love Leap. I love the opportunity they've given me to learn how to roast. I came in there with 0 experience, and now I've been roasting for a year and a half, and I've gotten a lot of feedback and positive feedback. I've won a couple bronze from the Golden Bean this year, and so I'm just like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I feel like I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like I don't, but I was thinking to myself, you know, I love what they've done for me in terms of like being able to give me that opportunity, but like I'm not in love with the brand overall. I'm not in love with the design, with the whole experience is just not what I would create for myself. And I want to be able to look at something and stand back from a project and be like, this is what I see in my mind of what I want. And I'm not going to try and push Leap in any sort of direction. I'm not going to change the name. I'm not going to change the logo. You know, it's designed the way the founder wanted it. And that was his baby. And now I want my own. Not human baby, because those are gross. But I want a real, like my coffee baby. I want my little beanie baby, you know, as I call it. So, you know, that's why I wanted to, because I kind of wanted to like stand back from a project and be like, that logo, I did that. That espresso machine that's set up the way I wanted it, I did that. Like all these things I chose these things. These are all my design. These are my brainchild. And if it fails, it fails. And it's like, you know, it's on me for that. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do it.
Dude, I like that. I also like the idea of taking control of all the creative aspects of it. As you're saying key things too. I mean, to bring it back to the beginning of the conversation, you're talking about how tomorrow you're going to be going to a Solutions Espresso, teaching a class, or teaching the guy, I should say. You already know how to service an espresso machine. You have connections in that. You know how to roast. That 2 things right there is the majority of what a coffee shop is. You can't have it unless you have an espresso machine, batch brew maker. You already know how to do that, and you're roasting all the coffee. So that's 2 off the checklist. you set all that up, and then you have like a basic understanding of creative content or creative design, I should say. And you're doing that right now with your own personal brand of Sprometheus and your YouTube channel. You add all of that together. I mean, it just sounds to me that you've kind of put yourself through your own training, like a crash course almost, if you will, and almost everything that you really need to make a business pop off.
For sure. I mean, I think that's one thing that I can also thank Leap for too, is since I came into that program, and a lot of trust has been given to me to where I've seen and experienced a lot of the things that the owner has experienced.
Yeah.
And I've learned from her mistakes and learned from the things that she's experienced and been like, hey, like, I want to open a cafe. And she's like, this is why you shouldn't do it in California. And she explained it to me, and I'm like, yes, I agree with you.
Is it going to be out of state?
Eventually, the brick and mortar is not going to be in California yet.
Okay. Is it going to be back in Montana? Where are you from?
Potentially.
Possibly,
yeah.
Damn, son. You know, I'm a California born and raised boy. We've talked about this before.
I love it here, but
dude,
I'm thinking about the progression of my business. And in the end, like when I first was into, in my previous life, as I would normally say, like, you know, when I was a police officer, my thought was, I want to be where the action is. I want to be in a big city when it will be where, you know, shit's going down.
Yeah,
right?
Because
that's you know, I've worked in a small town, and I'm just like, that's not great.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, now I love standing next to a roaster. I like, you know, when it gets cooler out, I like it because I'm a hot coffee drinker. I don't really like iced coffee very much. And so it's, you know, it just seems to fit better for me. And in the end, as long as I'm doing something I enjoy, I don't really care where I am. As long as that place isn't necessarily making me miserable.
Yeah.
But like, as long as I enjoy, you know, some aspect of this place, then I'm there for it. But California, I feel like, is getting very dense with coffee. San Diego specifically, if you look up like the top coffee cities, you know, in the U.S., San Diego's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, we're rising to the occasion pretty tough right now.
There's got to be a breaking point, right? And I'm not going to be there to experience it. Like my business isn't. You know what I mean? So in the end, I'm like, okay, looking for a place that's growing. It may not have to be that small. Like my brother was talking about Reno, because like Tesla's moving out there.
Yeah.
All these businesses.
Dude, we were talking about Vegas has the emerging coffee market right now, just like everything else that's emerging out of there. Football teams, soccer teams, ice hockey teams, like shit's popping in Vegas. Might be the spot.
Well, Vegas isn't where I want to go for sure, but Reno is a possibility. You know, Idaho is definitely falling out, you know, into the list a couple times. Montana, going back to Montana, is a potential. Colorado, definitely just like headed up north, you know.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I've been messing with that idea, but the fact of leaving Cali, I've just been around major cities my whole life. I love going out in the wilderness, don't get me wrong. But, dude, I love being in the mix here. When I was living in Leucadia, it was so fucking boring, bro. It was so boring.
Well, Leucadia is like between major cities, dude.
I know, and it was boring. And then I moved back into North Park, and it's all, yo, shit's always popping here. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, there's a skate video premiere here. There's this, there's that. And for a person like me who's like always going, like we were talking about for the podcast, I'm out of my house by 5:30. I don't sometimes show up until 11:30, 12 o'clock, and then sleep, repeat.
Yes, that's not me.
Dude, I'm about it, son.
And that's never really been me. And you know, so I also feel slightly guilty. I'm taking up this sick apartment in North Park, and like a prime area for, you know, someone who's socially engaged.
Whatever. Nah, dude, that's really totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't really feel bad for that, but at the same time, just like, you know, I'm not taking full advantage of what San Diego has to offer, other than culinary wise. Like, you know, I love the coffee, I love the food, but otherwise, you know, if I'm roasting my own coffee, I can get good coffee anywhere. And shit, I'll just, you know, before I leave San Diego, I'll just go take some, you know, lessons on Thai and Indian cooking, and I'll be set, man. Doesn't matter where I go.
Right. Dude, that's like saying, yeah, I'll just make a Mexican burrito in Hawaii. It's not going to happen, bro.
No, dude, it will.
Nah.
You can.
You can't get the tortillas out there the way they got them here, son.
I mean, so you're probably going to get mad about this, but I'm like a white guy when it comes to Mexican food. And don't get me wrong, I do like a soft taco, but give me one of those crunchy motherfuckers, dude.
Dude, I don't care about it. You want a crunchy taco? You take a crunchy taco. You make a gordita, a chalupa. I fuck with all of it.
Oh, dude.
I had a breakfast.
Taco Bell, though?
Dude, I've had 2 breakfast burritos back to back like from Sombreros down the street. Shout out. Even though the lady at the front is very mean all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, super mean all the time. I don't know why. It's like, damn, good thing you have good hot sauce on burritos because it's like I wouldn't keep coming back.
Any place that has a hot sauce bar, I'm down with.
Yep.
Because, like, they never give you enough.
No.
They never give you. If you go to, like, Taco Bell, and now they ask you for a specific number.
Dude, it takes me 4 exact for one breakfast burrito. No cheese.
No cheese.
No
dude.
cheese, bro.
What is wrong with you?
I don't fuck with cheese. It destroys my stomach. It absolutely. I mean,
dude.
I'll eat it, but dude, the next day, bro, either the bathroom's gonna get blown up or you're just gonna get some gas. Like, and it's not no
Give me
bueno.
all the cheese, dude. I love cheese.
I can't do the cheese, bro. But it takes me exactly 4 things, like the little sauce things, and then boom, 4 of them takes me down to the last bite. I didn't finish my burrito today because I had 3.5. I didn't have enough hot sauce to finish the last couple bites.
Plus, they have the carrots and peppers, dude.
And jalapenos. I
That's
wonder
my
how many
jam.
stems are in there.
Well, the stem is actually attached to the pepper, so that's okay. That's okay with that. But yeah, man, now I want Mexican food, dude. I'm gonna have to order some friggin' Postmates when I get home.
Dude, I honestly I'm so hungry right now, but I don't even know what I'm about to eat. Oh, it's like I go to Fernside way too much. Shout out. But neither here nor there. Idaho. Have you been there before? You're willing to move out of state and basically take on a life that's not Cali? That you just
Yeah, I mean, I've been in California for 5 years, and the rest of my entire life was spent in Montana and Washington, so it's not that much of a stretch.
okay.
You know, I lived in Montana for the first 20 some odd years. I moved to Washington State after college, lived there for about 3 years, moved back to Montana for about 2 or 3 years, moved back to Washington for like 1 year, and then moved back to Montana and then California. So I was like back and forth between Montana and Washington a bunch. And my last time in Washington, I was in Spokane, which is eastern Washington. So also right up against the border for Idaho. So Coeur d'Alene's always one of those things. It's like, I don't know if there's much specialty coffee out there, but Coeur d'Alene's, you know, you've got a lot of money, you've got a lot of vacationers, you've got, you know, all those things. So specialty coffee might be a solid play in Coeur d'Alene.
Dude, I'd just be so weird if I didn't even know. I feel like I would go crazy.
Here's the thing, dude. You know, it's addicting to change your surroundings. That's why I've done it so many times. And even though I've moved back and forth, I've never moved to the same place twice other than to like my hometown when like I lost a job or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was in a position where I was like, oh shit, I got to move back home or whatever. But I think at this point in my life, I won't ever have to be in that position. Hopefully, knock on wood, the home doesn't exist anymore. My parents moved away. So, you know, that's the end of that. But I think that there's something so exciting about coming into a place by yourself and just like developing yourself and developing roots. And even now that, you know, I love San Diego, and if I could, you know, and I probably could if I really wanted to, like, make it work here for the rest of my life. But in the end, like I said, I just don't think that the coffee industry can sustain the way it is for the next foreseeable future in San Diego. Like, with the growth that it's experiencing, like, I think within the next 5 years, you'll see a good amount of shops, especially not places that are roasting, places that are like
just cafes.
Cafes are going to start shutting just because there's so many.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I mean, the coffee scene is following suit to the beer scene here. Mm-hmm. There's so many beer companies. Not all of them are going to make it, but there's a grip load of them. There's definitely more in Portland still, but we're right up there. And then the coffee scene is just blowing up, which is tight, though, because even though it's blowing up, we're still in the forefront of it. So anybody who comes underneath us or, like, comes in under us and just, it's like, hell yeah. But then it's also paying homage to the people that are before us, like Moto and, like, Zumbar and other spots.
Calabria.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Yeah, Calabria. But yeah, it's really cool. And it's cool to also see the development of stuff. Like, dude, Por Vida, they're already 3 years deep. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that until I met up with them, and I was like, dude, that's so sick.
Well, see, they cornered the market. I mean, there's some other shops out in Barrio, but, you know, in terms of Barrio Logan, they've kind of cornered that market, especially because they're very much like Hispanic focused.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like the design and the whole general, like the name, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're on the same street with, what's that taco place? Salud.
And then the one next to that.
Yeah. And so they're in this, nice little nook, right? They're actually surprisingly close to what's the other place that's down in Barrio that I never go to?
Cafe Moto.
No, it's not it.
No? Virtuoso.
That's it. Yeah, that's my feeling about it.
Yeah.
So, there's some options out there, but I think they've created themselves a nice little nook, and that's really the key. Like, maybe you're not going to get rich off of it. And I don't expect to start a roastery and,
like
end
be
up,
balling.
pulling up in a 7C
in your Porsche.
friggin'
Tesla. Yeah, fucking Tesla, dude. That thing every
But,
time, bro.
Yeah. But, like, that'd be great. I'd love that. But that's not the goal. And I just want to do something I enjoy and not feel like I'm working. And that's really, like, as corny as that shit sounds, like, that's kind of the gist of, like, living a happy life in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I've worked a lot of jobs that I've hated. And your job is just, like, so much of your life, even if
Dude,
you don't
really
like
is.
it. And that's just, like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, dude. Take the risk. Take the jump.
Dude, I mean, that point right there, I feel like that's so much deeper than even coffee right there. That's just a metaphor for life in general. I mean, that right there, how you're saying you spend so much of your life doing your job, dude, I feel the exact same way. I share that opinion, that feeling, because, dude, I'm not balling, but I can afford to live in San Diego. I have a nice place to live. I can afford car payments. I can pay for bills for my parents. And it's like, dude, this is sick.
Mm-hmm.
You're out here, you're doing it, you're living. But then at the same time, back to what you were saying about like the family vibe. We have a small team here, but we're with these people for 8 hours a day. And dude, by the time you're working with somebody for a year and you work with them 8 hours a day in close proximity, you become pretty good friends. You start to know these people very, very well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And it's very interesting. And it's, again, it could also be to a fault. Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's like whatever. But then you make friends that end up lasting for life sometimes. And it's amazing.
It's been interesting, coming into Leap, I'm about a little over a year and a half in. I'm like a year and 8 months or so I've been there. And I'm one of the longest standing employees. They've been open for about 3 years. Now I'm one of the longest standing employees with one other girl who, when I started, we did not get along. And we've definitely had like a rocky road. And over the last 5 to 6 months, things have really like smoothed out, and definitely like we're like friends now. And we've just known each other for so long and kind of been through a lot of shit together when it comes to like the ups and downs of that business, that we're just like, she's kind of like a little sister now. And she would probably cringe if I said that to her face. But yeah, I mean, it's like having a family outside of that. And like I said, that's for better or for worse. Like, fortunately for me, I don't hold any sort of managerial position, even though people look to me all the time for answers, and they come to me with things, and I try my best to help with some things. Other things I have to like push on to someone else. But
yeah,
I feel like that is the hardest thing for an owner, is to be able to separate that and be like, not look at these people, especially like, let's say she's a mother and she's got 2 daughters, and now you have most of the company, there's 3 guys who work at that company, myself included. So everybody else is a girl. And so she looks at them all like daughters, right? And let's say you have to fire your daughter. Your daughter stole out of the register. Your daughter, showed up late. Your daughter, whatever, this and that. Like, you have to now turn around and become business, Yeah. And that's just, I've seen it be very difficult. And, it's definitely something that, like I said, the things I've learned from being in that business and experience, I mean, like, as hard as that's going to be, being an owner and like, hiring someone with no experience and like raising them up and, turning them into like a professional or whatever, and then they do something wrong that you have to get rid of them, like, that shit ain't fun. Like, I don't expect it to be good. You can be friends for sure, but like, I think you have to ride a really fine line, and
super fine line. And
for me, like, I think I've only hung out with maybe one employee outside of work, other than like the previous manager / whatever he was, he who should not be named.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've only hung out with one employee outside of work, and just a few times, like, you know, and it was like her and her husband, like, you know, just like vibing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think outside of work, I've hung like at Christmas parties and whatever, like.
Well, it's work stuff.
Yeah, work stuff. It's fine. But here, I've only hung out with one employee. It was the fucking person that you met, so it was fine. But yeah, I think it's definitely interesting too. We were talking about for the podcast. Working here at Seven Seeds, it's so unique in what we do a lot of the time. So we end up going. It's work. But then we end up doing like fun shit together. And then at the same time, we're also going on these trips. So you're traveling together. So that adds a whole nother element to just.
I think you see who people like outside of living with someone. When you travel with someone, that's when you experience a lot about how they are and who they are. Mm-hmm. Because traveling brings out the worst in people.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
It definitely does. Like, you know, I don't know if anybody out there, if you've ever seen the show An Idiot Abroad.
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude.
Should watch
British.
It. Okay.
It's a British show. Ricky Gervais is like he's not the main character or anything, but it's like a friend of his who's like a total curmudgeon. Like,
curmudgeon.
And they just send him to places like, you know, huge like spectacle places like the pyramids or the Great Wall, and he just fucking whinges the whole time, complains about the food, about this, about that. And it's like Great Wall, it's kind of like, it's like an okay wall. Like that type of shit. That's traveling with me. That's me, dude. I'm just like, dude, I could be home right now in my espresso machine, or I could be roasting coffee. Like, I'm very much like into what I want to do and not really into. I've really tried to be more open about like these experiences. Like I just went to Vegas, and part of that experience was a helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon, which was pretty fucking amazing. I'm just like trying to open my mind to these types of things a little bit more. But like in the end, that's kind of like deep down who I am, and like let's say if I went with a girlfriend or something like that, if I had one of those, then it would be like, you know, unless she was down with that vibe.
Yeah,
you know
it's problematic.
It's problematic.
Yeah. Dude, it's very interesting because I very much love living in a city aspect. But bro, get me out in the desert, get me out in nature. I don't need shit. Whatever. Turn the phone off, done. Let's grime it out. Whatever. We're not going to shower for 5 days. Fuck it. Like, let's go party. Let's do it. Let's hang out and make some interesting choices. So I'm down.
Yeah,
so,
5 days without shower is definitely an interesting choice.
I mean, you can like wash off, but I mean, I've done it before after like a music festival where I was like, I had to shower myself like twice to get all the dust. It's just like black coming off of me. You just love it, bro. But I also was inebriated, so it was fine. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's the people that we were talking about specifically that I've traveled with for Seven Seas. I had perceptions for both, or a couple different people that I've traveled with. I've traveled with a bunch of people from Seven Seas actually, but I always went in with preconceived notions about how it was going to be, and it ended up either being completely opposite in a good way, or just kind of like you sit there, just shake your head like, oh, they've never been on a trip like this before. They've never done stuff like this. Dude, I think applying like my skate history, and when you're driving across the country with a dude who did not skate on a 2-week skate trip, and he's sitting in the front and he's piled out and he's just throwing up and just causing a scene, and he won't sit in the back with the dudes who skated the whole trip, and then you're smashed between two big ass fools in the very, very back of the van, and you're like got the last spot, and you're just like salty, like this motherfucker. You're salty because you've been skating and you get back in the van and it stinks. You're salty because this fool sitting up there is piled out, been throwing up. We have to pull over every 20 minutes because he's gonna yak. And then he's complaining. It's like, bro, you shut the front door, bro. Like, get out of here. And then it's like you're still in Texas. Mm-hmm. Got to get your ass back to Cali. It's gonna take like 2 days. You know, it's like once you can do that, going to Catalina Island ain't no problem. Yo,
yeah, that's true.
This is easy. This is cake work. Like, what do you want to do? You want to go kayak? Let's go kayak. Let's go hang out. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, there's no cell service, and then you're doing these things that are like planned out for you, and they're so fun, and all you have to do is make coffee, and you have like a partner in crime, like, bro, it's the best. Why are you gonna be mad about this? This is so easy. Like, hell yeah. And then if like you get the whole squad together, you go to like Coffee Fest or something, and you room with like one dude and doing his DJ thing, and shout out to Funky Barista. Yo, I just watched some Dexter on my iPhone, and I was good. So I've been really blessed at Seven Seas to have such great traveling people, and it's almost in a sense, you know, like how you were saying, it's like a little sister almost. It's just the family vibe. You're out there. You already know these people because you worked with them for like a year, and you spend every day with them, sometimes 6 days a week, for the entire fucking majority of your day. And then you go out of this thing, and you have like a skate crew. Like if you go into a foreign country where nobody speaks the language, your crew becomes your lifeline, and you form bonds with people. And then so it's like we went to Catalina. There's 4 of us, 2 people rooming per 2 room. And then you form these bonds. It's like, all right, we got to, you know, somebody's going to get sick. What do you need to do to get that person better? Like, what do we need? Do you need something? You, like, whatever. You're just, it's taking care. And you form these bonds, and dude, it's fucking tight, bro. It's so sick. It relates back to skating so easily. It's like, oh, hell yeah. This is what I loved about skating. You know, you get in the car with your homies. You don't know what's going to pop off, but you know you're going to do it together. And that's all that matters. It's like, I got kicked out the hotel. All right, well, we're all together. Fuck. Cool. We're going to sleep in the car then. Like, let's get it popping. Or, you know, homie got hurt. All right, we got to take him to the hospital. You know, something like that. And then it's fast forward 10 years. All right. Coworker got sick. She can't barely function. The boss is getting his hair cut. The digital marketing. All right, well, we got to load the boat up. All right, so I'm loading all the shit up. Just boom. But it's like, yo, we need to take care. Somebody needs to step up and take care of the team. It's all love. Like I love that shit. That's what gets me pumped. Like, son, yeah, like homies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
To each their own.
Dude, it gets popping. Why not, dude? Grow that network, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's like face-to-face like this or 12,000, 13,000 subscribers, people just want to see what you're doing. You're just talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What famous movie was the Golden Boy or the Pony Boy?
What is that? I'd have to look it up, honestly. How come we don't have an Alexa, dude?
Dude, I ain't gonna do that. Never.
Why
Gonna do an
so
Alexa.
scared, dude?
Nah, dude, that shit. I don't mess with that at all. I don't want people. Dude, did you not listen to the Edward Snowden Joe Rogan episode? He talks about all the shit that their people are doing, the government stuff.
I mean, I listened to him on somewhere else. Where did I listen to him from? I think he was on The Daily Show. I listened to his interview on The Daily Show, but it wasn't that crazy.
I don't know, man. I just not about it. I'm not. I don't think I'm ever gonna get one. I'll definitely state. I mean, the computer's fine. My phone, it's fine. Siri's fine. Yeah, but
Siri's the same shit, dude.
But I can't just be like, Siri, play the song. You know, like, it won't do it.
So I just looked it up. So it's actually from a poem. So Stay Gold is a reference to the Robert Frost poem that Pony Boy recites to Johnny when the two hide out in the Windricksville church. One line in the poem reads, "Nothing gold can stay," meaning that all good things must come to an end. So here Johnny urges Pony Boy to remain gold, or i.e. innocent.
Nice. That's deep.
Dude,
Nothing can remain
Are you going to
gold.
cry right now?
Nah, not yet. But it depends on what I watch when I get home. I might get emotional.
All right.
You know?
Well, you should just read some poetry, dude.
I don't like poetry, to be honest. But
ups and downs.
I mean, I like lyrical poetry, so hip-hop.
Yo, get some carbonated water.
Was poppinated. Yo. Did I just say it was poppinated?
You did say poppinated, dude. You just coined a new phrase, dude.
I didn't even know that.
You heard it first on Caffeine and Green.
C&G, that's what it is.
Poppinated.
Dude, poppinated. All right. Well, Sprometheus, we've done an hour and 26.
Oh shit.
Dude.
Let's cruising.
Let's wrap it up and tell the people where they can find you. Tell the people what to expect coming down the pipeline. I want YouTubes, I want Instagrams, websites, Let them know.
Right on. So you can catch me on Instagram at Sprometheus. So Sprometheus is spelled Sprometheus.
Slow that down. My
website, I'll do it again on the website. My website is Sprometheus.com. Again, that's Sprometheus.com.
Yep.
My Twitter, which is a relatively new add-on to this whole experience, is Real Sprometheus. So at Real Sprometheus.
All one word?
All one word. And that's basically where you can catch me in general. Like the YouTube channel is The Real Sprometheus on YouTube.
Okay. Hit that subscribe button.
But all my videos get posted to my personal blog, thesprometheus.com. But obviously I would prefer you to subscribe to the YouTube than the blog. But if you want to do both, dude, more power to you. I love you for that.
Yeah.
I do have a Facebook that I never check, but it does auto post from all those things. So I get content still showing up on there. I do check it and respond to messages and whatnot on there as well, but I don't love Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where you can catch me. New videos every Friday.
Tomorrow you'll be dropping one?
Tomorrow's dropping one. I'll be sitting probably in maybe that end one there.
Yep.
Having I guess I won't have a birthing swan flat white, but I'll be sitting there having a donut, posting some shit.
Yes.
And then, yeah. I mean, what else do I have? Any other? Oh, I guess I post on Instagram 3 times a week.
3 times?
3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Okay.
On YouTube, on the community tab, I post the thumbnail for the video coming on Friday. I also post a trailer to that video on my Instagram story every Thursday as well. So give people a little taste.
You got it mapped out, bro. I need to take some notes.
It's all about consistency and
always.
People can count on shit coming down the pipeline, dude. So, I'm doing lots of cool shit. December's going to be popping. I'm working on some cool content for December because that's going to be
popping or poppinated.
It's going to be poppinated.
Poppinated,
it's going to be poppinated because I don't even know that December is a good month for YouTube ad revenue.
Okay.
So I got to make sure I'm putting out some bangers on that one because you boys got to buy Christmas presents for people.
That's what it is.
And that's it. Oh, you can catch me right now at Leap.
All right.
Leap.coffee.
Roasting.
If you want to order our coffee, it's on there. We're on Instagram at Leap Coffee right now.
Yeah.
And, I'll be announcing my personal roasting project probably on my YouTube channel as well as on my Instagram. But it's a separate entity altogether, but it's going to be me killing the game. So
always
follow along.
Yep. Dude, I love it. Thank you so much, Sprometheus. Asa Baiz for everybody else. I never actually said your name. So thank you for rolling through Caffeine and Green again. And it won't be the last.
Right on. Thanks for having me, brother.
Boom. Peace. Thank you, Sprometheus, a.k.a. Asa Baiz. That's right. I switched it up on y'all. No, but seriously, thank you to everybody for listening to the podcast. That was an amazing episode. Another great one with Sprometheus. Thank you to all the sponsors of Caffeine and Green, Seven Seas Roasting Company and Thorn Street Brewery. And if you haven't already, share it with all your homies, all your friends. We going global, baby. Let's go. Hit that subscribe button. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Caffeine and Green is what it is. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.